Hey everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and it's time for another book haul. I bought a lot of things. Granted, I had reasons for all of them, so let's just get into it. There's going to be a lot of books here that I show that are purchased for the Level 10 update, so if you are interested in finding out more hints and information about the Build Your Library Level 10 update, this is the video for you to check in, because a lot of this has that. I also have some other projects I'm working on for Build Your Library, so there's a lot of that going on in this video, plus some other things that I bought. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to start with the Level 10 stuff, because I know that's what like most of you are excited to find out. So I've talked already about how I sort of went on a mythology thing with the Level 10 update. When I was looking over the book list and looking over things I wanted to replace and things I wanted to update, I just kept thinking, what if we did a whole mythology thing with this year? So you'll see that reflected here. But these aren't. And that is the 24-hour series. So I bought two of them. I have 24 Hours in Ancient Egypt and I have 24 Hours in Ancient Rome. I think they're both going to end up in, I don't know for certain. Definitely the Egypt one. I'm reading it right now and I'm really liking it. It's such a fun and interesting way to explore what life was like in a different time. I want this for like every time period ever. I just think it's really an interesting way to explore. You're basically spending 24 hours in this time and place, and you're following different people for each hour, so you get to see from like all these different perspectives. A lot of them will come together in different ways, and it's just really interesting. I've always found like the idea of just like not so much the rulers and the ruling class, that's interesting too, but what is it like to just be a regular person who lived at that time? And so I love that this gives you a chance to see that. Like, it does cover like the king and or the pharaoh and that sort of thing as well, but it's also midwives and, you know, the stonemason and that kind of thing. So really cool concept, and I went ahead and bought both of these. There's also, I think, an ancient China one. There might be another one, I don't know. But I'm probably going to buy all of them because I just think they're really cool. Let me see if this tells me. Yeah. Oh, there's also an Athens and an Ancient China, so I'm probably going to complete the series because I just think it's neat. I have Pandora's Jar, Women in the Greek Myths, and this is by Natalie Haynes. She wrote one of my favorite mythology retellings, A Thousand Ships, and I've been dying to read more of her work. I think I also bought Stone Blind, that came out this year. I haven't read it yet, but it's in my stack of like need to reads. And this one is nonfiction, I believe. So I don't know if this is going to make it in the level because I think it's going to be too dense for that, but I still want to read it for myself. But I think that this could be really interesting because this is just her exploring how women are often treated in Greek mythology and that sort of thing. Then I have these two books that I'm trying to decide between. I don't know which one is going to end up in the level. One of them, though. I have The Light Ages. This is The Surprising Story of Medieval Science by Seb Falk, which is exactly what it sounds like. And I have The Bright Ages, and this one is A New History of Medieval Europe by Matthew Gabriel and David M. Perry. Both of them are looking at the Middle Ages through a different lens, in a different light, and trying to show that it wasn't the Dark Ages. This wasn't a time of like utter ignorance and people living in squalor. There was some other things happening too. So both of them seem like good potentials. I'm going to read a couple chapters of each and see which one I think fits better. I have a couple other things. Oh, I have Women and Power, A Manifesto by Mary Beard. I don't know what I'm doing with this. It just sort of ended up in my cart. I was looking at some of her other books and trying to decide if I thought that was too dense. And most of them are. They are all very long and like scholarly works, which nothing against that. I'm just not sure they're right for level 10. But this was short, and I don't know, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna read it and see what I think, if this is something that I think would, it's very short, it's like an essay, basically. And I want to read it and see what I think. I don't even know exactly what this is. I think it's tracing the origins of misogyny to their ancient roots, and like how that has affected women in power throughout history. So, I don't know, if you've read this, let me know if you think it would be a good fit, because I don't know if I'm going to get to it or not, but I feel like it could be interesting. I have Women of Myth, from Dear Woman and Mamiwata to Amaterasu and Athena, your guide to the amazing and diverse women of world mythology. I knew I was like completely updating the world religions and mythology part of the level, and I had been looking at this for a while, and I finally bought it. It's beautiful. It's beautifully illustrated, and just like a really interesting exploration of women in mythology. It covers a huge range. It's very diverse, very interesting, so I'm gonna try to make that fit. I've talked about this already too. This is The Horde, how the Mongols changed the world. I bought this, looked at it and went, nah. Like, I'm sure it's fascinating. It's just very dense, like super dense. And I don't know that that's what I'm looking for level 10. But I still want to try to read it at some point because I think it would be interesting. This is all about the Mongols. And I don't know, if you guys watch Crash Course, then I'm sure that, you know, the Mongol montage thing happens quite often. And when I saw the title of this book, that's immediately what I thought of. So I bought it. Then I have some fiction that I bought. Some fiction mythology retellings. I already owned quite a bit. But these were things that I had been like looking at and thinking about for a while, and I just went ahead and bought them. So I have Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is by Su Lin Tan. I've heard so many people raving about this, and I'd never even looked at it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but when I finally just went ahead and looked at it, I went, oh, this could fit really well. So I went ahead and bought it. I don't really know exactly what this is, besides it is a Chinese mythology retelling, but I don't know of what. So I need to do some more research before I dive in, but I've heard a lot of like people say this is amazing, it's beautiful and lyrical and all of that. So it has potential, but I already had a couple other Asian mythology things in my stack that I already owned. And like, I can only fit so much. So I don't know which one is gonna win out, but I definitely want to read this and see what I think. I have Oversea and Under Stone. This is The Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. Again, another series that I've heard lots of people talk about, but that I have never personally read. I've been told that I would love this. And it's been recommended to me numerous times over the years, like seriously for the last like 20 years. I think this has come up a lot, and I've always gone, maybe someday. I've just never gotten to it. I finally bought the first book in the series. I know this is a like Sword of the Stone, King Arthur sort of story. I don't really know what though. I don't know specifically what this is beyond it being like some kind of an Arthurian legend retelling. I have The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi. So I believe this is based on Hindu mythology. Again, I don't really know specifically much about this, but I've heard it mentioned a lot over the years. I think this has been out for a couple of years now, and I've heard a lot of people rave about it. So I wanted to check it out and see if it's something that I think I would want to use in the level. I don't know. So we'll see. And this is a brand new release. This is Children of Ragnarok, The Runestone Saga by Cinda Williams-Chima. This is an author that I've heard a lot about, but I've never read. And this is a Norse mythology retelling series. And again, I don't know a lot about it, but what caught my eye was that one, this is an author I've been told numerous times I should read. And she's supposedly amazing. I've never read any of her work. And it's Norse. So I was looking for some kind of Norse something. And so I decided to check this out and see what I think. And I don't know. We'll see from there. I also have 2 science books in my stack. I have, because I'm updating the science, of course, in level 10. That was like the whole reason to update level 10 was at the science, and then I just got caught up in everything else too. So I have the Serengeti Rules, The Quest to Discover How Life Works and Why It Matters by Sean B. Carroll. And I've just seen this book around a lot and I wanted to check it out. It says on the back, how does life work? How does nature produce the right numbers of zebras and lions on the African savanna or fish in the ocean? How do our bodies produce the right numbers of cells in our organs and bloodstream? In the Serengeti Rules, Sean Carroll tells the stories of the pioneering scientists who sought the answers to such simple yet profoundly important questions and shows how their discoveries matter for our health and for the health of the planet. So it sounds really interesting. Like, even if it doesn't end up in the level, I feel like I'm going to get a lot out of just reading it myself. So I hope it's good though. And then I have Hurricane Lizards and Plastic Squid, The Fraught and Fascinating Biology of Climate Change by Thor Hansen. I am always looking for books on climate change that come at it from an interesting lens or an interesting perspective. And so I thought, one, the title of this book had me. Like, I was already excited. So I don't know exactly if this is the right book for the level, but I love the title. And it's talking about how animal life is being affected by climate change. So it felt like the right book for the level. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So all of those are potentials. Don't go and buy anything yet, thinking that now you know the level 10 book list. You do not. I don't know yet what is actually going to be in the level. So I promise to update more soon. Now I also, it's been highly requested. Like, I don't know. I get requests for unit studies all the time. And I have a running list of things that I might do for a unit study. I don't know. Like, I collect things all the time. But I often have just a lot going on, so nothing has actually come to being yet. But I have lots of ideas. But one of the unit studies that has been probably the most requested over the years has been a World War I unit. Sort of in the same vein as what I did with the World War II unit. So I have been collecting things because my daughter and I, she's 14, we have just gotten to World War I in history, and I wanted to like slow down a minute because we're doing American history, but I'm like, we can't just like only cover what happened with America joining the war. We need to like back up and talk about the whole war. Since I'm already doing that with her and researching things, I thought, you know, this is a good time to start working on that unit. So with that in mind, I have several things here. I have Everything World War I by National Geographic Kids. It's a great, like, very colorful overview book that covers like all your basic need-to-know information. And then I also have the DK Eyewitness World War I book, which is the same basic idea, but like at a slightly older, like, I would say this is great for like your 3rd to 5th grader, and this is great for your middle school aged student. So like, they're both good. I don't know if I'll use both of them in the unit or pick one. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. So I have those. I also went ahead and grabbed the Nathan Hales Hazardous Tales book because my daughter loves this series, and so I went ahead and grabbed Treaties, Trenches, Mud, and Blood. This is the World War I book, and it is exactly what you would expect from one of these books. It's really fun, it's colorful, it's a silly graphic novel, but it covers a lot of information. So we're reading it right now for her school, but I don't know if it's going to end up in the unit, probably. And then I went ahead and grabbed the World War I for Kids activity book. This has so much information, lots of like photography included, lots of activity ideas. It has, yeah, 21 different activities. I like these for unit studies especially because they often come up with some cool ideas for things that I would not have thought of. Like this has a Make a World War I scoreboard. There's some recipes in here. Press a flower to send home from the front, that kind of thing. So really interesting sidebars and activity type things. And then for literature, I grabbed The Great War. This is stories inspired by items from the First World War, and it's illustrated by Jim Kay. This is a variety of authors all writing a short story based on an item from World War I. So it's a really cool collection. It's got full page like illustrations throughout. And like I said, variety of authors: David Almond, Michael Morpugno, Marcus Sedgwick, several different authors. Some of them I've never heard of, so really interested to see what I think of that. And I did also buy a novel. I have The Foreshadowing by Marcus Sedgwick. I've heard this is good. I've never read anything by this author before. I have a couple other things I already own, but I wanted to grab something new to see if maybe there was something else out there that I wanted to explore. So I have this. I don't really know what this is though. I think it's about a girl who can see the future, and she's trying to warn people about the dangers that they're in, and it's tied up in the war somehow. I think this is YA. I don't think it's middle grade, because I want to say the main character is 17 years old. So I'm still on the lookout to see if I can come up with a good middle grade. I did want to do War Horse, because I personally don't want to read that again. I read it many years ago with my older kids, and I don't do horse stories, and I don't want to read that again. So probably not that, but I don't know. I'm on the lookout for something that I haven't used already in a level. We'll see what I end up coming up with. That's it for things that I bought for Build Your Library things. Now let's get into stuff that I bought for whatever, because I wanted it. So first up, I have The Dead and the Gone by Susan Beth Pfeffer. I loved the first book in this series, Life as We Knew It. It's in level 9. I was thinking about it recently because of the level 9 update that I did previously, and so I kept thinking I should get the next book, and I kept forgetting about it. And then one of my friends was talking about dystopian, like apocalyptic literature, and shared a list, and this was on the list. I was like, oh, yes. So that was the reminder I needed to pick this up. So I have it now. So basically in the first book, if you're not familiar with it, an asteroid hits the moon and knocks it closer to Earth's orbit, which just kind of messes everything up and causes all this terrible stuff to happen, like the tides are too high now, and volcanoes are erupting everywhere. And the first book focuses on one girl and her family, like living in the suburbs, and it's a very like closed, quiet story about just like suffering through this apocalyptic event, running out of food, like not knowing what's going to happen, and it's just really harrowing. And I've been wanting to read more because I knew that there was more books in the series. I just never got around to it. So this one, I think, is set in a city. It might be New York City, actually. I'm not sure. But I know there's several books. There's this one. There's also 2 other ones, I believe. So I'm really curious to see what happens in this one, because, like, I want to know what it was like in a city when that happened. Like, that would be so much scarier, I think. And the way the book is written was just so, it felt real. Like, I felt like I was really there. So I'm very curious. A pre-order from March that I just didn't get to show in my last book haul. This is Her Lost Words by Stephanie Marie Thornton. And I was so excited about this because this is a story about Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley. And I will read anything if it's about Mary Shelley. Like, I love her and I'm fascinated. Her life is so interesting. So I'm super curious about what this is going to be, and I keep meaning to pick it up, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I really want to read this, like, immediately. I read Wild Bird earlier this month, and I really loved it. It's by Diane Zahler, and it was a brand new middle grade release that was about a plague, or during the Black Death, I think. And so when I read that, I really enjoyed it. I wondered, does the author have any other books? And yes, she does. So I went ahead and purchased one. And this is Daughter of the White Rose by Diane Zahler. And I was interested in this because it's a story about the princes in the tower, which is a topic I'm always interested in reading more about. And it's middle grade, so I'm really curious to see what I think of that. These next 2 I got for my daughter. I bought her the newest Wildlife Anatomy. This is just one of the anatomy series that we've been collecting, and I bought this specifically because I knew it had bears in it, and that is her current favorite thing in the world is bears. So I bought it for her because I knew she would want to read that. So we got that, and I also got Nature's Best Hope, How You Can Save the World in Your Own Yard. This is a like children's version of the adult book, and I just thought we would read this together this summer probably. I picked this up, and actually I picked it up at first. I was like, could it work in level 10? And I decided after flipping through it that I don't think it could, but I still wanted to have it anyway. And that is Beowulf. Yeah, and it's by Zach Weinersmith. And this is a like Beowulf retelling, but in graphic novel format. And it says, listen, hear a tale of mallow munchers and warriors who answer Candy's clarion call. Somewhere in a distant suburb stands Treeheart, a kid-forged sanctuary where generations of tireless tykes have spent their youths making merry, spilling soda, and staving off the shadow of adulthood. One day these brave warriors find their fun cut short by their nefarious neighbor Grindel, who can no longer tolerate the sounds of mirth seeping into his joyless adult life. As the guardian of gloom lays siege to Treeheart, scores of kids suddenly find themselves transformed into teenagers, beset by the plagues of hormones and pimples. The survivors of the onslaught cry out for a savior, a warrior whose will is unbreakable and whose appetite for mischief is unbound. They call for Beowulf. Sounds really cute. So, I don't know, it looks like a little bit too childish, like little kid version of a story for level 10. But we'll see. I haven't read it yet. I might change my mind on that. But it just looks so cute though. I could not resist. I had to have it. This is also a brand new release. Also for my 14-year-old, I bought The Outdoor Scientist, The Wonder of Observing the Natural World. I bought this to kind of go along with this. And this, I don't know. I always have big plans for summer learning, and I'm terrible at following through. But I have the things, so we'll see what happens. This is by Temple Grandin, and it's all kinds of like fun outdoor sciencey things for different things. Like there's stuff for going to the beach, stuff about rocks, which is I think where we're going to focus because she is interested in rocks at the moment. But there's also animal behavior stuff, looking at the night sky, birds, you know. There's a lot of stuff in here. So, like I said, I have like all kinds of ideas for what we're going to do this summer. But will we? I also picked up Body Talk. This is by Kelly, or edited by Kelly Jensen, and it's a collection of stories, poetry, essays, like lots and lots of different things going on in here. Comics and whatnot, and they're all about radical anatomy. So we have 37 writers, models, actors, musicians, and artists share essays, lists, comics, and illustrations about subjects including size and shape, scoliosis, eating disorders, cancer, sexuality, and gender identity, makeup as body armor. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I wanted to read it first and then like pass it on to her. I don't know, maybe we'll like buddy read it. I haven't decided yet. But I just thought it might be something she would enjoy. I bought a cookbook, which I rarely do because honestly, who uses cookbooks these days? I never do. I feel like I can usually find what I'm looking for on the internet. So I haven't bought a cookbook in years, but I saw this and thought maybe I should get it. And it's Baked to Perfection, delicious gluten-free recipes with a pinch of science. And this is by Katerina Sermelch, and I bought this specifically because it has a section on how to bake gluten-free bread. And that is a thing I really need to figure out because it's gotten so expensive and it's so hard to make. Like every time I've tried, it has been a failed experiment. And so I'm like, there has to be a way. So I'm hoping to learn from this. There's a lot of other recipes in here too. Like there is pastries, so many pastries. Oh my God. I want to eat all of them. There's muffins. Mostly this is baking, so lots and lots of baking things. So Everything from like brownies and cookies to bread. Oh man, look at the pictures in here. These are gluten-free. Like, they're not dairy-free. There's a lot of dairy in here too, so I'm gonna have to work around that. But donuts. So I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna put this down. But I'm gonna bake some bread, and I hope that it works. My nightworms came this month. I forget the theme. When I figure it out, maybe I'll put it over here somewhere. But I'm really excited about the books I got in Nightworms. So the Nightworms, if you're not familiar, is a horror subscription. You get 2 books a month. One of them's a brand new release, hardcover, and one of them is usually some kind of an indie published or backlist title. And the brand new book this month is one I was so excited about. I've been wanting to get it. It's Lone Woman by Victor LaValle. I've heard so many good things about this already. And it's like a historical horror, which is one of my favorite things. This is like an Old West kind of a story. But it's about a woman of color, I think. Yeah, a woman with a past, a mysterious trunk, a town on the edge of nowhere, and a bracing new vision of the American West. So, I'm excited. Like, I feel like this is going to be great. And then the other book is Such Pretty Flowers by K.L. Sarah. And all I think I know about this, based on what I read on in the synopsis, is that we have killer plants. Like, carnivorous killer plants. So this could be interesting. And also, I just think the cover is just really pretty. I have 4 more books, and actually I should have 2 more, but they'll probably get here tomorrow or the next day, and I just needed to get this filmed today. So, it's fine. But when I heard that Book Depository would be shutting down this month, I was very sad and distraught, because I have been collecting the Discworld series in the cloth, like, hardcover, beautiful editions for the last couple of years. I buy myself like 1 or 2 of them a year. And I figured I would just like slowly eventually get them all. And I am distraught that I will not be able to do that now. I don't have the funds to just finish it off because there's like 40 books in the series and I own like, I don't know, 6 of them in this in this series, and I'm sad. So I bought 6 more. And that's about all I'm going to be able to do, I guess. So today I have 4 of them. They literally came this morning. So I purchased Soul Music, Men at Arms, Reaper Man, and Small Gods. And I don't remember the other 2 books I bought. I think one of them was the Hogfather book. And I forget what the other one was. But it'll probably be here tomorrow. But I have these at least. I'm sad. I wanted to have the entire series. Like, are they not just the most beautiful? They're just like really nice hardcover editions. They're the kind that doesn't have a dust jacket, just beautiful hardcovers. They have a ribbon bookmark and they're just so beautiful and they're nice to hold and read. Like I'm a fan of this edition. Will I get all of them someday? I don't know. I really hope that I can find them elsewhere. Like I do know that you can find them on Amazon, but they're like twice as expensive. I got each of these for like $12 to $13 a piece, and when I found some on Amazon, they were asking like $20 to $25, and I just like, I can't do that. Not when I was getting them for 12 bucks. So anyway, now I have these. So that's it. I don't know. I was going to stack, but I just don't have it in me to do that. So that's 35 books that I purchased, and a lot of them are for work, so I can justify that. So they're all going to get read because I need to read them for work purposes right now. So anyway, that's what I got to show you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you got any exciting books this month. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye!